Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. This YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, but especially advanced field command and battlefield tactics. And we continue to look for forest battles here on our channel, on our series. This little mini-series was inspired by lots of requests of people who struggle to fight in the forest. And so we did a little raiding of villages down here. We sieged a castle, sieged a city, and we have inspired the enemy to surround us and attack. Now we have this very elite force, right? Again, I have this little disclaimer here because sometimes people are shocked they can't do quite the same thing that we do. This is just a feature of our army group, and of course, you know, at a very late game campaign, you will have a pretty strong army as well. So I like to show you kind of what's in our army here so that people don't think we're just rolling over everybody with weak troops. If you want to see us roll over enemies with weak troops, we have a whole series dedicated to that, right? It's literally called Weak Army Tactics, where we go out and face units with weak units. Now we're looking to upgrade units to like Battanian Fiends, etc. With this army, but of course about 80% of it, I want to show you that, is tier 4 and above. Right, we're going to do some upgrades here so we get even stronger. The purpose of this is not to brag or anything about the army. The purpose of this, of course, is to show battlefield tactics in the forest. Now, I know this area will be forested. It's just a question of how many different enemy forces engage us here, and whether or not they will sort of play ball. Now, they have a very strong army. In fact, look at this shit. This guy, 77 elite Imperial Cataphracts. This guy has mostly tier 4, tier 5, and tier 6 units. Similar with this army, very strong, 12 Banner Knights, 42 Sharpshooters, 41 Vanguard, etc. Right, these are very tough armies. See what else we got here. Stenolf, this guy's got 85 Sharpshooters, Valandian Sergeants, Battanian Veteran Falksmen. These armies here are actually stacked. So this is an incredibly powerful Valandian force. Even this guy, this mercenary, is completely loaded. Look at that, 100 Imperial Sergeant Crossbow, 35 Battanian Horsemen. These are all tier 5 units. So we have a really powerful army, but the enemy in this case has just as strong, or maybe even a stronger army than we do. I didn't really even see any low-level units in their armies. Now we're going to use a glaive for this episode. I've been doing a lot of Epic Siege series, wandering around fighting Castle Siege, but we're going to use a nice fast polearm here, our two-handed axe, and 2 tranches of javelins. We'll use normal player damage for this whole series. I've got the RTS mod loaded in case my character goes down, and into battle we go here. Now this is perfect, right? This is, I think, what you fellas want. Maybe a little denser forest, but there's trees all over the fucking place. There's hills. It makes it very difficult to see the enemy. These are all just weaker companions. We do have some weak companions, weaker companions, and we'll just drop these guys in the 6th Corps here. But these trees make battle very difficult. In addition to that, because the enemy has so many archers, I'm hopeful that they play defensive here. They take a defensive stance, sit at the edge of the map, and make things even harder for us, right? Even though they're favored to win this battle, we're outnumbered almost 2 to 1. I'm hopeful that the enemy will take a defensive posture here, because that is probably the best strategy for their army. Right, now we have lots of archers in our army, and if you follow our channel, you know if you're playing vanilla Bannerlord, you should have lots of archers. The bottom line is, compared to the other units, they're simply overpowered. You know, I don't want to say it's dramatic. It's not like you don't need the other units, although you certainly could fight, and that makes me wonder about a series of all archers. You know, you certainly could fight episodes with mostly archers, but archers compared to cavalry, for example, are definitely overpowered, and they're good in a variety of different situations. Now in the forest, fortunately the AI will figure it out, and they'll shoot around trees, and they'll still be able to see right through, right? They'll shoot the enemy horsemen because they have X-ray AI vision, whereas when you're in the forest, you can't see shit. So I'm positioning defensively to start, but I anticipate, and it does seem like the enemy is holding back, which is good. I'm going to do a little scouting here. I've got a couple divisions following me, but look at the numbers on the bottom there. That's the distance to them. That number is going up because they are running up that hill to play defensive, which is exactly what we're looking for here, right? I don't mean from the sake of ease. This is going to make it harder, but guys want to see a demonstration of how I would deal with a very difficult situation like this. We're outnumbered. You might even say we're outgunned, or at least we're comparatively gunned for power of the army. And they're playing defensive here, right? This is going to be a challenge. So spreading my units out in a big arc, I almost always lean heavily towards the right side. I know there's plenty of guys that say, well, you should lean to the left side because of the shield, you know, the shield hand of infantry. In this battle, I'm less worried about the enemy infantry and a lot more worried about their fucking huge amount of archers and, of course, their cavalry. So to counter that, of course, we have infantry and cav and shield walls directly in front of the archers, sort of in consecutive rows, like concentric castle walls, trying to basically slow down this enemy cav as it approaches us. You see our horses here, they run into the physical horses, and a lot less of the enemy will be able to penetrate your backfield at a high rate of speed. All these guys here are getting stuck on our cav wall, and they become fodder for our archers. As soon as I tell our archers to shoot, they all die, right? Watch the death spam. Of course, now they're point blank with the archers. Just watch the upper right. You know, like 80 arrows just hit those banner knights, and smartly they're fleeing. So we'll hold fire, right? As soon as they pour over that ridge, a little micromanaging here. You do not have to do that, but I would recommend you get familiar with holding fire and telling them to fire. Takes a, you know, a quick command. Since the enemy's pulling away, there's no reason to waste arrows. Now, they are holding defensive here, so we're going to start to look for a better angle to attack the enemy. They're way up on that hill. Motherfuckers are playing this pretty smart. There's a hill here in front that gives us a little bit of cover, but it also means that we can't shoot without going over it. And the fellas who know the channel well, know the tactics well, know that we would be voluntarily participating in a reverse slope decline defense for the enemy. Coming over this ridge here, our archers would get obliterated. They would get charged with cav, that's for one thing, but then they would get absolutely ripped apart by their archers before we could set up. So we're not going to do that, right? We're going to go around this hill. We're not going to just give the enemy an advantage here. We're going to use our head, then we'll use our brawn and figure this puzzle out. Now over here on the right, the enemy's more exposed, right? In this valley here, I can start to set up troops. And here's what I'm relying on here, besides getting couch lanced here. These guys are all coming for me. What I'm relying on is if you kill a certain number of the enemy, a lot of times they will break their defensive stance. Now you have to kill them, you have to expose yourself to kill them, but what we're going to do is quickly move these units up, cav walls and shield walls. The enemy's actually really bound up there. Now is kind of the time. Let's make a movement here before they get spread. So calves and shield walls ahead of them, infantry and shield walls behind them, and then we're going to spread our archers out into a large C fan shape base. And basically we're doing that so that enemy archers can't concentrate their fire on our units. We want our archers spread out as far as possible, as long as they have protection from this cav in the front. Now we're going to suffer losses, right? At this stage of a force battle, the enemy's cav is cycle charging in chaotic rhythm through the battlefield. There's just no way you can focus on and worry about it. What you want to do is block that massive amount of arrows that's coming our way, right? So we're shield walls towards the front. You'll see me putting the second first and shit, I just got confused giving commands there. Sometimes that happens. I'm doing all these commands and trying to narrate at the same time. Let me regain my train of thought. We want to have these shield walls, infantry and cav, in the front. That way those guys are absorbing the majority of the arrows. The enemy doesn't have this, right? Their cav is attacking us, and the net effect of that, let's see if I kill my own guy here soon. I'm usually good for one of those. The net effect of that, though, is that we're shooting their cav while it's attacking us, and our cav is preventing their archers from unloading on us. I hear our guys getting shot, but it's mostly finding shields, right? Because we have our shields towards the front, blocking a lot of these arrows meant for our other troops. Now, if the enemy gets aggressive on us, of course, we'll do some flanking. We'll do a little bit of a modified kill box here. You can't really do a kill box when there's 100 cavalry rampaging all over the place like this. But what we will do is we will swallow the enemy up and kite. And as I've done in other force battles, the reason we're going to kite here is because if and when we get reinforcements, they will be behind us, right? I want to use a reverse slope decline defense for our side if and when the enemy charges. Now, they may not. I sometimes fight force battles where they never charge, or they don't charge very far. But it does look like, in this case, their infantry is moving forward, their crossbow is holding strong, but they've got about 100 infantry here, and we're going to surround these fucks. 6th and 8th Corps off to the enemy's left. I'm going to dismount here. We're going to just attack basically with the 7th and 8th Corps. Those guys can be sent in. The enemy's getting kind of fucking spread out here. and that's just fine, right? Our archers at range are going to be dealing damage. You can see the arrows raining in on the enemy's flank here. The 1st Division is in a square, right? They're basically doing that, and they're on fall back, right? So that we pull them towards us, and then the skirmishers in 8th Corps now are attacking the enemy on the side. These are all sort of rudimentary tactics for guys who follow the channel. If you're new to the channel, I realize I'm going through a lot of these commands in a blur. I just don't have... I mean, I could run one of these in slow-mo, but we've also had episodes where we do that, right? I don't want to start from scratch every episode. So we're focusing on their infantry, we're ignoring their cavalry, our archers will work on their cavalry, and we're frankly ignoring their archers. Their archers are at a good distance to us, we keep kiting back, and we do have cav lines and shield walls that are absorbing a lot of those arrows. All right, more kiting here. We're pulling back our infantry, and we're helping these guys get out. We're not just going to turn our backs. We're going to attack the enemy as they chase our guys. I kind of stalled out here. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but we, at this stage, we're just pressing in on their archers. And actually, their sharpshooters are charging. I can't tell if that's because they're out of ammo or for some other reason. But we're fine, sparring at range. They have a lot of Battanian Feenchamps, which are tough units, but one of their weaknesses is they run out of bolts, right? And they are coming up in a good, strong infantry line, but we still have infantry here ready to pursue, ready to take them on, and the 6th Corps is brought to the enemy's left flank. These guys will now be flanking with javelins, flanking with archers, and we're going to bore in here with this 1st Infantry Division. Just moving these guys in. For some reason or other, I picked up a fucking mace. I don't need this shit. Garage sale. We're following our shield wall line here. I'm going to help these guys as they move forward. The enemy's kind of getting behind them. And now that they've reached the enemy line, they get told to charge. I'm very much watching for enemy reinforcements. They're kind of coming in globs and drabs over the corner there. But right now we still have archers set up in good position. Our 6th and 1st Corps are doing some good work here. Suffering losses, of course. This is a very tough force we're fighting. But definitely making some hay here. I need a horse. Sometimes when you want a horse, of course, there's no horse anywhere. It's a little bit of a messy situation because what I want to do is actually pull behind here and do a reverse slope defense, but I can't get our units to position. Getting fucking knocked around here. I can't get our units to that position because obviously I have to get there. This is the disadvantage of playing on foot. I'm slowed down here, and without a horse, well, thank you very much for dying in front of me. Now we can enact our next strategy here. A reverse slope defense. I was just saying a second ago, we're not going to comply with the enemy's desire for a reverse slope. We will now perform a reverse slope defense on the enemy. If you've never seen this before, you're going to love this. So we're pulling back hard. As we pull back, you will suffer losses. Just look up in the right-hand corner. There will be 10, 20, maybe 30 death spams of our guys and almost none of the enemy. That's because we're moving and the enemy's attacking us while we move, right? That's appropriate. They've got cav coming in here, and it's good strategy, right? This is one of the situations where the AI does a good job. They are pursuing. They've got all kinds of javelin-throwing motherfuckers. We're actually getting a few kills here and there, but the enemy's definitely going to do more work on us as we pull back than we are on them. Of course, I can, at these times, it's very nice to have a fast glaive. People ask all the time, this is a custom weapon. It's like 80-something, 89 speed or something. It's very fast and still damage enough to kill units, usually in one shot. I like a very fast weapon in most instances because if it's aimed well, you're still killing guys. And of course, you can kill more because you're swinging faster. All right, you can see this ridge now. Our units are almost entirely over it. And now the enemy is going to be pursuing into the teeth of our archer fire. Just got to get these guys set up a little bit better. I've got the 6th Corps here. Let's see, we can do a little dividing here, but I got the 4th, 5th, and 6th basically. All of these archer divisions are in good, strong form. Most of them have a good amount of ammunition. The 6th is almost full, and we're gonna, okay, so some of our reinforcements are coming in far to our left. We are gonna spread out a big arc right over the edge of this hill here. And again, it's a reverse slope defense, just like we were trying to avoid before. The enemy will now be coming over this ridge into an absolutely devastating archer fire. Anytime you have a hill like this, especially if the enemy's sort of broken up like they are, this will be devastatingly effective. I've got a square there. Fucking horses in my way and shit. People wonder why I kill horses. I've got a square here just to gather some infantry, gather some attention of the enemy, and let our archers and skirmishers work. Yeah, so let's divide these guys. These guys are coming in from, of course, like I said before, they're coming in from 400 fucking units away. So that means we've got to fight with half our army here while they catch up. And this is just part of the game, right? It's part of, especially when the enemy plays defensive, it really favors their situation. So they've reached our infantry line. Those guys can be told to charge. I got to get these reinforcements brought over here, and right now we're basically counting on these 100 archers or so to repel the enemy. I'm moving the square left and right here just to give our archers better line of sight. Now they're shooting the guys in the side. And the death spam, even though we're in a bad situation here, is still highly in our favor. We're fighting elite troops, and we're still pulverizing the enemy. Okay, I got myself a shield. We can now play more of a battlefield commander here. The enemy archers are kind of coming up in drips and drabs. That's actually just fine. This horse evidently wants me to ride it, so we'll jump on. Let's see what we got going on here. Our reinforcements are coming up very messily. In fact, they're getting flanked the whole time by the enemy archers. Again, it's a messy situation. This is par for the course. This is a normal thing in siege, in force battles, especially where the enemy forces you to chase them. You can see our two different enemy forces, or our two different allied forces rather, are in totally different locations. To say that's suboptimal is an understatement. But we've got a nice peekaboo ridge over here. These guys are obliterating everything that comes within their line of sight, and there's enough troops here I think they can hold out. Of course, the enemy still has tier 4, tier 5 units coming at us. It's still fucking sharpshooter, hardened crossbow. You know what? We're going to abandon that one division. I know that seems crazy, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a unit back in a square here. I've got two very powerful archer divisions, and we've got another ridge here for a peekaboo ridge. I think this one will be even more emblematic of a good peekaboo ridge because I have my units concentrated here. So basically, those units that are on the left, they're on my right now, those are sacrificial. We're giving those guys up, right? In a battle like this, sometimes you're going to lose. Well, you see them all getting killed now. We're just kind of letting go of those guys, right? We're accepting that those guys are a lost cause, and we're going to prepare this next defensive wave. Now this has the makings of a nice peekaboo ridge. All right, so look at these archers here. I've got a huge amount. There's 215 archers right here. We're going to spread them out into solid wide lines right on the other side of this ridge. Now it's probably hard for you to see. I recognize this the same way that college boys recognize nice titties. It's clear to me that there's a peekaboo ridge here. What I mean by that, see how you can't see the enemy? Our units are coming over that. That means the enemy has to come over this ridge, and when they do, as soon as they do, they get smoked with arrows. There's our infantry shield. We just want that gathering attention. And as the enemy chases over, look at these guys getting fucking smoked. Look at, they just came to the ridge. Their archers are up there on the ridge. These cav in my way here. Just tell them to charge. It's a couple companion members. Look at this. Their guys are coming into absolutely withering archer fire. Every guy trying to throw a throwing axe. Even the guys coming up in shields, right, are just being pelted. They don't really have much of an option here. And we got like 60, 70, 80 kills there before the enemy even reached some of our archer lines. I mean, look at the death spam, right? This is a massacre. And we're still killing elite troops, right? Every other unit I kill here is a tier 4, tier 5 unit. And the death spam is incredibly in our favor. You see them trying to hold up their shields. These archers are trying to come over. No chance, right? And all I'm doing here is just sort of fighting in the boundary. I'm not going to go over that ridge, right? I'm just going to stay on this side because over here we have withering archer protection. These archers, I can just retreat back to them anytime I want. There's like 30 or 40 Battanian fiends in here, and everything that comes over that ridge is destroyed. This, by the way, is one of the most devastating and simplistic tactics to pull off in the game. And I do have an entire episode that I'm working on that basically highlights the decline slope strategy. It's one of the best, and it can also be used in a huge amount of situations. Of course, you have to have a slope, right? If you're in a wide open flat plain, it doesn't work. But in this situation here, we devastated the enemy at the end of this battle. The enemy's still coming up. At this stage, I mean, the enemy has absolutely no chance. They might as well siege the gates of hell. They're going to come over this ridge and get shot to pieces. We don't need to even waste fire, like when it's like 10 guys like this. But when there's enough guys, or even just these insolent fucks on the ridge here, all we have to do is just open fire, and these guys get absolutely obliterated. All of those guys just died. It's a shooting range. Every single guy, you know, they just get obliterated, shot with 40 arrows. I can practice some Taekwondo here. And nothing can get over that. I mean, you can, at this stage, you can see the only reason I'm holding arrows is because when there's one or two guys, they're not doing any damage. Look at our crossbowmen, they're holding their shield up when they're on hold fire, right? These guys are not stupid. And this strategy here is just, in this situation, granted the power bar favors us anyways, but the enemy has absolutely no chance here. Another big wave of the enemy, so we open fire, and everything in sight gets eviscerated. The death spam just lights up the screen in the top right corner. There's like 1 kill for every 10 of ours. And the enemy just is dissolving away here, right? I can wade in here, but this battle at this stage really is over. Now they're down to tier 3, tier 2 units. I mean, this battle was over about 20 minutes ago. This battle was over when we engaged the enemy, but now obviously it's a formality. We're just beating down the last handful of stubborn shield wall tier 2, tier 3 troops. These guys really don't amount to anything. I can just kind of jockey back and forth here and let our units shoot them to death. Get a little practice with my axe skills. My Taekwondo needs a little work still. Alright, so the last force battle I'm going to do, obviously it's not part of this episode. Someday I will... I apologize. Excuse me. Yeah, you get a frog in your throat once in a while. The last force battle I'm going to do here will be a custom battle, and I will use mediocre troops, no companions, and just fight in the open, you know, without any advantages. And we'll try basically on hard mode, right? This is easy mode or easier mode, even though we fought an elite army. We've got, you know, 60 Battanian Fiends and whatnot here lighting the enemy up. But we'll try a little harder challenge for this series. We lost a companion here, never fret. We still devastated almost 1,900 Valandian fucks here, and we barely lost, you know, 400. Obviously a highly successful, devastating attack here, considering the enemy was defensive, considering the strength of their tier 5 army, and the fact that we were outnumbered almost 2 to 1. 17 minutes and 19 seconds of absolute destruction here. Now look at how inefficient some of their units were, right? These units, you can go in and look. These Battanian Fiends here got 1 kill and lost 11 guys, right? This is the kind of stuff you want to see. This means that as a commander, you're defensively and offensively playing correctly. Look at their cataphract. 77 guys, and they got 4 kills, right? That's because of our archer positioning. That's because of our shield walls at the front. The Banner Knights here, not a single kill. Those Banner Knights didn't get any. I'm just kind of looking through at all their elite units to see how their elite units did, because we know how ours did. Ours skewered everything in sight. Look at the sharpshooters. They lost 42 and got 7 kills, right? So a KDR, this is the opposite. This is a 0.2 KDR. Look at this, 100 Sergeant Crossbowmen, and they only got 32 kills. We killed 100 and only lost 32 to them, right? So this is obviously how you defeat a powerful foe. Again, 70, you can just ad nauseum. 76, and they got 40 kills. Every single one of these has been lopsided. It's not like, you know, we have... some kind of advantage on their elite troops. We have the same elite troops as they do. Look at this, 85 sharpshooters, and they got 17 kills. Whereas our sharpshooters probably got 5 or 6 kills for every death they suffered. This is the value of tactics. Again, you know, the sergeants, 1 guy got a kill, and they lost 14. Here's the only guy that did well from the Volgier. They had 1 Volgier rampaging and got 6 kills, but obviously that's anecdotal. Look at this. Their Banner Knights, 7 of them didn't get a single kill. It's just across the board, right? The enemy got fucked up here, and that's mostly through tactics. All right, well, that concludes this episode. We're going to continue on with various different tactical episodes. If you want to see a certain situation, I'm more than welcome to take on challenges. At some point, friends, I might even be willing to take on saved games where you send me a situation that in a battle you just can't seem to win or is really giving you a hard time, and see if I can figure it out, like a little problem solver. I mean, that's what I do for a living as a firefighter. I solve problems professionally. So I don't make any money on YouTube. Maybe someday we'll do some kind of monetized element, mostly for charity. My wife and I have a comfortable retirement coming to us. We don't need the money, but maybe we'll raise some money for charity. In any case, let me know what you think of this series. Please subscribe if you want to see more, of course, all of that, the normal things they say at the end of the episode. Let me know what you think. Please comment. You can make some criticism if you want. Just keep it friendly, right? We're just having a good time here. Nobody needs to be trash talking each other, even if you don't like what something said by somebody or something I said. You know, just try to keep it friendly here. We'll avoid all the trash and the skullduggery of the social media fucking underworld. In any case, let me know what you think, friends. Let me know if you have certain requests. And with all that said, friends, I will see you guys next time.